Hello replayers, this is MisterUltimate and welcome to a first look review of Ninja Pizza Girl, a parkour platformer by Disparity Games. Now in this game you're going to be playing Gemma, who is the delivery girl for her father's pizza restaurant. And you're going to follow along with her and you're going to interact with her customers and see how her story takes shape, and you're going to see her deal with bullies and self-esteem and a lot of issues like that. So let me go ahead and get this out of the way. This story is going to have a moral to it, but it's not heavy-handed or ham-fisted. It's not going to be trying to think for you. It's not going to be trying to preach at you. It's very subtle, and it's going to go along with the gameplay. You're going to see, a reason for things that are happening, and it doesn't really distract from the gameplay. So don't worry about that. I do think that it's a very well-told story from what I've seen. So I went back and I replayed the first few levels so that I wouldn't be spoiling the cutscenes here. So you'll be able to see those for yourself. If you only want to see the review and go out and decide if you want to purchase this won't be spoiling the story for you at all here. Having said that, let me go ahead and move on to some of the more technical things like the controls. Very smooth, very responsive. I didn't feel any kind of lag in the controls. I was able to move Gemma exactly where I wanted her to be, and anytime that I messed up and I hit an obstacle or I fell or something or I ran into a bully, I kind of felt like it was my fault, which is good. I didn't feel like the controls were letting me down or anything like that. Everything moves very quickly and very smoothly. It's a very fast-paced game. Gonna be required to make a lot of split-second decisions, which is good. It's a parkour-based game. You don't want a slow parkour game. I don't even know what that would be. So yeah, you want it to be quick, and you want everything to move with some fluidity, which this game does have. Visually, it's a very sharp-looking game. It doesn't have like state-of-the-art photorealistic graphics. I don't think it needs that. And it's a situation where less is more. It has just enough detail to have that fluidity, but there are little details thrown in. Like for instance, Gemma actually carries a pizza with her while she's going through the levels. You can see it. You see what she's using to carry it, how she's keeping a hold of it. So it makes sense. It's just a little visual detail that they really didn't need to throw in, but they did pay attention to it. So I really like when developers have that kind of attention to detail, where it's a very simple, you could even say a silly premise. It's a parkouring ninja pizza girl, delivering pizzas, but they give it enough seriousness to just say, what, we need to include that little detail. There's a lot of little details all throughout. Everything looks really nice and very cohesive. There's a little bit of a futuristic element to it because it is set in the near future. Everything does look dangerous, which is, I think, a very important part of any parkour-based game. There has to be an element of danger. You have to feel like you could just totally eat it at any time, and you do feel that. And when you do eat it, and your timing's off, you don't land properly, you almost wince. There's a very, a very resounding thud, and you wonder how Gemma didn't break her legs. So that part is very well done. The music is also very, very good. Especially my favorite part is when Gemma gets into the zone and you're just flowing and flying through the level. She gets really excited and everything just bursts with this vibrancy, and the music is an incentive to keep that going. You want to keep it going, and it really plays into the gameplay. It really feels like it's a part of the gameplay, and it's an incentive, a reward to keep playing well and playing skillfully, which I think is pretty smart. I think this is very well done, and you don't really see that too often. But again, the music, the soundtrack, sound effects, all very well done. There is an interesting mechanic too that's kind of tied to that, in that Gemma doesn't have a life meter. She has a self-esteem meter, which is not represented by an actual meter on the screen. It's represented by how colorful and vibrant the world is, and that is a visual representation of her mood and her self-esteem. And so as she does well, things become brighter and more exciting for her. But as she misses platforms, and she hits obstacles, or she falls and stumbles, or if bullies are able to attack her successfully, then that lowers her self-esteem. And if it goes too far, she'll actually, kind of crumble, and you have to rapidly interact with the controller to build her self-esteem. And you kind of get this feeling that Gemma's having to dig down deep and not let this feeling of low self-esteem overtake her. Again, all of this ties into the theme of the story and the moral, and I'm really wanting to make it absolutely clear that this is not done in a ham-fisted, heavy-handed way. It is all very subtle. There's all these subtle little cues throughout. Even like when you are confronting a bully, attacking the bullies doesn't really raise your self-esteem, but doing well on a level does. And that's a really subtle thing. I think it's almost like saying that sometimes you do have to confront a bully, sometimes you do have to stand up for yourself, but sometimes it's better just to navigate around the situation. It's done so subtly through gameplay, through the mechanics. Also, when your self-esteem is low between levels, you can rebuild it by visiting the TLC menu. And there's things that Gemma likes in there, like chocolate and video games and hot tea and things like that. Things to take her mind off it, alleviate stress. I think anybody who's been in any kind of stressful situation has just been where they just want to relax and have a little me time, things like that. Something everybody can relate to, not just teenagers. Adults deal with it too. Adults deal with peer pressure. They deal with all these situations too. It's just that when you're young and when you're a teenager and you don't have the experience of navigating these things, it hits home a little bit more. Also, you can raise your self-esteem by getting her new outfits. And I will admit, for a split second, I thought, man, that is stereotypical. She's a girl, so she has to raise her self-esteem by having more clothes. Real retail therapy, really? That's where we're going? But it's actually not that. And shame on me for thinking that. Really, she makes her own outfits, and so she gets creative, she expresses her individuality, expresses her own uniqueness, and I think that is a really healthy thing to do. And I think that it's something, maybe not in that exact way, but I think everybody should celebrate their own uniqueness. Of course, in this world, you gotta get along to get along, you gotta fit in, but you shouldn't just be a face in the crowd. Find something that is uniquely you. And now, if you will excuse me, I will step down off of this soapbox and keep talking about this game. So, everything ties together really well. I'm pretty pleased with it so far. Not seeing anything I really don't like. Everything seems to be working together. I also like the style of the visuals too, because the cutscenes are done with a comic strip, a comic book like fashion, and you can see there's a little bit of cell shading in the actual gameplay and everything, so everything is very cohesive, ties well together. So that's gonna do it for my first look review of Ninja Pizza Girl. I'm anticipating that this is gonna get a really nice score from me on extended-replay.com, so be on the lookout for that. I'm also going to be doing a one-shot Let's Play on my channel, MisterUltimate XRP, so be out on the lookout for that. And if you'd like to take a visit there, if you like what you see, be sure to give me a subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. And if you like this video, be sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe so you can see all of the videos we're going to be bringing to you very, very soon. In the meantime, I pray that you all love one another, and until next time, I remain Mr. Ultimate.